This video has been a long time coming. I've had some major setbacks and I've made some huge mistakes. I'm even feeling the effects of that now. So today I'm going to go through everything on the renovation, from the latest events to the final reveal, the setbacks and the huge mistakes that I've made so that you don't have to make them as well. And more importantly, what you've all been waiting for, the figures. So please stick around till the end. So welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome if you're new. So what I'm going to do is put on screen now some of the footage from the final reveal of the Nook, so you can see finally what it turned out to look like. I'm really excited because I'm really happy with how it came through, and obviously, like I said, I'm going to go through some of the figures with you as well. But first, let me take a moment just to take you through some of the setbacks and things that and huge mistakes that I've made on the project. So yeah, guys, this project has been a hell of a lot to deal with. It's been almost like a marathon. I've had to literally drag the projects kicking and screaming over the finish line. We've had everything to do on it, and everything's been thrown at us on this project just so I can get it to a habitable status. So when I first started the renovation on this project, you'll see that during the strip out, it was all happy faces, and it was just, I was excited and I had this grand vision for this project. However, as we began to strip some of the stuff away, it became clear that we needed to do, there were some hidden issues and that we had to deal with some of the issues. Some of the things I brought on myself, Chimneygate, and obviously all of these things had a financial cost to them. So some of the things that we've had to tackle is we've had to do a complete and utter rewire. We've also had to recover the roof, as you can see from, as you've probably seen from past footage and you'll see from footage on the screen now. Some of the challenges seemed never ending, and for every step forward it almost seemed that there was a 2-3 steps back. So I would say, looking back on this now, one of the main things that was a major setback or a huge mistake maybe on my part was I underestimated the waste removal here. Once we started actually stripping everything back and popping them into skips, the whole process of managing the waste was underestimated by myself. So guys, really think about the processes you're going to have put in place for removing waste from when you are first analysing the deal. When I first looked at this project, I should have seen that the access was restricted. It was restricted because it's a small access, and obviously there's cars parked along there as well. So getting the trucks to drop off the skips, sometimes the skip driver had to make 2-3 attempts to drop them off because obviously people had the cars parked there, the residents did, and they weren't there to sort of move them so that the skip could get dropped off in the first place. Or when they were going to remove them, it was then a major kerfuffle to get the cars parked out of the way so that then the skip driver could had enough room to access and remove the skips each time. So really pop that in your risk register, analyse that from day one, just to make sure you don't overlook the figures as well involved with the amount of waste that you'll need, the amount of skips that you'll need, because I massively underestimated, one, the amount of skips that I would need to take the rubbish away once we stripped it all out, and two, I underestimated the access as well. So that was on my part, but yeah, just make sure you bear that in mind when you are looking and first analysing deals. And this is a big point as well to make, because you've got to make sure that you dispose of everything accordingly, because things could get traced back to you. If somebody fly tips or something, you get a company where they've just fly tipped your waste. If the council then recovers, I don't know, say there's letters or something in there that can get traced back to yourself, you're the one that's probably going to be liable for it. So yeah, really make sure that waste is your process, and strategy to waste is thought about well in advance and from the beginning of the deal. And the next thing, of course, it was Chimneygate. Obviously, this chimney breast, we removed the chimney breast and then rebuilt it back in blockwork. Another point, or another huge mistake or setback I'd say that I made, was that I massively underestimated the cost and the need for the thermal upgrade. This actually set the material price of this was quite a lot. Yeah, it was a cost that I should have thought about from before. Again, this is an element that I really needed to put a lot more risk and cost to when I was working out my figures at the beginning, and when I was doing the risk register. The material cost alone for that Celotex 72mm insulated plasterboard was quite a lot. It was quite a lot than what a normal standard plasterboard would cost. So yeah, that's another major thing that needs to be looked at, and I'll go into more detail in that when we come into the figures part of the video. The remortgage has been delayed, guys, and this is through factors that are out of my control, and again I'll go into that into more detail in the figures part of the video. However, guys, I persevered, and determination and sheer resilience has got me through. I've literally battled and pressed on and found solutions to every issue that has come up, and now we have this lovely light airy 2 flats that are really bright and airy. They're a nice environment to be in. The decor, it's our signature decor, so we have a nice neutral white and grey sort of palette, so that anyone that goes in there, it's still got that quite nice modern feel, but it's not too much where it's completely out of their taste, so whoever goes in there can just make it their own. So I'm really pleased and happy with how the layout's gone on these flats. The sheer ceiling heights alone are quite high. They're about I think downstairs is probably 2.6 point something and upstairs is 2.7. So they're really high. The ceiling heights are really high, so it lets in loads of light, so it's nice and bright and airy. And as I said, whoever gets these flats can come in and just make it their own and put their own stance on it. And I do have to give credit where credit's due. It's due to the amazing team of tradesmen that I've got around me. Obviously, their details are in the description box below if you want to check those out. And yeah, a massive thanks to my whole team. By the way, my name's Sabrina, and I am literally documenting all of my ups and downs on my journey to become financially free through property on this channel. So if you do like the idea of that, think about subscribing and sticking around. So then my next major setback were the costs, and this leads me nicely into the facts and the figures. Hold my hands up, I went over budget, guys. We had a few unforeseen circumstances that arose that we had to overcome, and obviously with that comes extra building costs. And you can plan as much as you can and build up this risk register as much as you can, guys, but sometimes things do happen that are out of your control. I do think in this instance I was a bit light on my figures and my budgets, and I hold my hands up completely on that. So yeah, it ended up we went over because on one hand I don't think I set a realistic budget for myself, which I'm gonna own up to, and on the other hand we had a few things that came up that took us over the budget as well. So I think I estimated roughly around 30k. I ended up spending about just shy of 45k on this. Examples of extra costs that I had to pay, and I'm gonna look down here because I've just got this on my computer here. For example, we had a new concrete floor, which that cost another nearly £2,500 to pop that in. Obviously the thermal boards, I didn't account for the extra cost for that. That was another £1,500 for materials on that. And for another example, whilst the plasterer was there, they replaced a bowing ceiling. That was another £300 in labour. So costs like this were adding up, and it just literally took me over my budget, guys. And what I'll do is I'll put a screenshot or screen recording of some of the costs that I had to pay as well, so you can follow along with that too. And that's all part of this project plan that I have, guys, and it's really the thing with this is, with the project plan, is it's really good so that you can at least track all of your costs, and you've got a running reference of cost for later so that you can have your lessons learned. You can learn from one project to the next, and it's just going to make your estimates more accurate moving forwards. Obviously every house is unique, and part of my strategy it is finding unique properties like the ones that I have found, where I can get multiple rents from one property, but I'm not quite committing to a HMO, which is quite unique in itself. So, but you never know what you're going to uncover until you actually until you start stripping things out. So you can mitigate as much as you can against risk, but you can never quite eliminate risk completely. So yeah, going back to my costs, guys, initial sort of fees, solicitors fees, legal fees and things like that was just shy of £6,000, so 5,800. Builder, strip out, waste and new floor and plumbing and things like that, that came to about approximately £13,000. The electrician was just shy of £7,000, plus plasterer and joint. The plasterer, that's just shy of 7,000. Carpets and decoration and things like that, carpets were about 2,300, kitchens were about 3,000, bathroom suites were about 15,000, and obviously windows 4,500, which gives me a total initial cost of about £44,100. With these figures, guys, I've just slightly rounded them up or down just so that they're clean figures for you, but that's roughly about what I paid. Now, this leads me back on to what I was saying earlier on in the video, where we've been having a few issues with the valuation, and I don't know if you guys are finding this now as well, but there's just been a spout of down values and valuers just not saying that the properties are not fit and stuff like that at the minute. So I'm literally in the middle of trying to argue and sort out this valuation, and it's been ongoing for a while. It's meant that the initial remortgage deal that I've gone for, we've had to pull out of that because the valuer has come back with issues and problems and basically downvalued. So we've had to pull out of that, and then my mortgage advisor, again, her details are in the description box below. She's been excellent. She's been sort of testing the market and trying to find another deal to go again. And we are going through that at the minute. And I think from looking through on my IG feed and stuff like that, there's been a lot of other investors that have reported the same thing, where they've having to pull out of deals because the valuer has downvalued. One I've seen was downvalued by about 60k. They'd have to find, and this was money that they'd have to find extra in order to make the deal work. So they've had to pull out and lose fees. You know, I think a lot of people are finding that at the minute because of the market. The valuers are being super cautious, and it's happened, and it's come back on the reports that it's been the last sort of 3 months or so. So with the delays that have happened, it's sort of pushed us into this time in the market, so they are being sort of cautious with this. So I just feel if I've got the project done a lot quicker, which we were wanting to do, then I might have just missed this, but unfortunately we're not. We're in this time, so there will be a part 2 to this, guys, when I've sort of finalised and sorted out the other remortgage deal that we've gone for. Once that's all finalised, I'll come back and get you the comparable figures for that. So apologies, I just didn't want to delay this video any further. And again, I will go back onto my spreadsheet here. I've got these are the estimated figures that we are going for. So looking at this, the initial purchase price is here. So obviously I paid approximately 125 for it, and loan to value we had, it wasn't the 75%, it was more like 65%. So approximately that is minus the deposit, it was that amount there. So the figures here, what we're looking at is, I'm trying to be cautious here, so it's working out to these two figures here is what I'm hoping I will come out with in the end after remortgaging the property and coming off the bridge loan deal. So I've either literally just broke even and having 2,150 in my pocket, or approximately just under 25. But guys, this is the reason why I've said to you, when you are initially looking at getting into investing, you need to have almost like a property criteria or a property profile, or someone put in the comments, almost like a property avatar. So because I've done that, and I figured out what type of property I want, and it's got to have at least 2 of the 3 criteria. Again, you can have a look on past videos to know what those are. One of them, obviously, is to add value and pull out money so that I can go again. And the other criteria was that I wanted to get multiple rents from one property. So this deal, at best, we'll be getting some money out. At worst, we're still going to get a good cash flow, because, and we'll go to the figures here. I'm estimating that each flat is going to bring in at least £750 per calendar month. So added together, I'm going to be getting about £1,500 for this property. Minus from looking at some of the figures with my mortgage advisor, approximately around £800 is what I've been quoted for some of the mortgage fees moving forwards. Again, obviously we're going to be testing the market to see whether we can get a better deal on that, and I'll go through this in the second video. But approximately, I'm going to be getting, and this is very conservative figures, around £700 worth of pre-profit. So that's before you take off, obviously, for all the other costs. This is just minusing the cost for the remortgage each month. So that's been very conservative. So that's going to be after my mortgage is taken off. So then you've got to bear in mind, I'm going to have to account for if there's any repairs that need to be made. I'm going to have to account for insurances and any other ancillary costs, things like that. So for me, this is still going to be a good deal, regardless of whether it's at the lower or the higher end of the estimated sort of profits to come back. It's going to be a good deal because I'm still going to be having that good cash flow from month to month. And what I normally do with these properties, and what I've done with the properties that I've had in the past, is that I've just let that rent just accumulate, just so that I've got a bit of a buffer. I've got money there in case there are any repairs and the tenant calls me up, because obviously it's a new renovation, so there'll probably might be any snagging or any last minute bits and niggles that I need to fix. Obviously, if I've let that rent just sit there and accumulate, I've got that lovely buffer so that I can go into for maintenance. Quick disclaimer, guys, I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not a mortgage broker, and I always say in all these videos, just make sure you do all of your research, just so you can make informed decisions. And if you're wanting to know more in depth and more detail how I've overcome all of these setbacks, just watch this playlist next and you'll see a weekly progress report on this project. What are your feelings on this, guys? I mean, property investing, it can be lucrative. You just got to make sure you know your numbers from the get-go. And again, don't put too much pressure on yourselves. You can never ever mitigate against and eliminate all the risk completely. You don't know what's underneath there until you get going and you do the strip out. Part 2 of the video will come once we've actually finalised and sorted out the valuation. I'll bring you those figures as well. And as I said, guys, please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you ever so much to everyone who has subscribed and who is commenting. Thank you, it's greatly appreciated. I still can't believe people are actually watching me. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.